You are now listening to the A2J2 podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the A2J2 podcast, a podcast that recorded an episode last week, and it is another lost file. But that's okay because I wasn't here for it, so who cares? No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
But it is good to be back with you guys. Glad to jump back on it and talk about some things that have happened in the sports world, some very big things that have happened in the sports world. Mm-hmm. When y'all recorded that lost episode, we were on the cusp of the inevitable. The first being the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA Finals, the first in their team's history. It was, you kind of got a feeling, especially after they just beat down the Lakers, that it was meant to be. So very impressive, Nikola Jokic. What more can you say that hasn't been said by the sports media? Just an absolutely otherworldly performance. In the playoffs, he had the most points, assists, and rebounds. Rightfully wins the Finals MVP, and he wasn't even that excited about it afterward. But I'll talk about that here in a second. But congratulations to the Nuggets and congratulations to their fans. Those people that thought that they were going to win it all with Carmelo back in the day finally got their ring.
Yeah, I think we slept on the Nuggets a little bit. None of us were high on them, and Andrew even had them knocked out in the first round to the Thunder. So
I don't know what you're talking about there.
But congratulations to them. They were the best team in the playoffs, and like the UConn run in the NCAA basketball championship, they were just unbeatable. We all knew it was coming. The Miami Heat finally just cooled off, and the Nuggets were just too good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan's prediction of the Nuggets in 5 came to fruition. Mm-hmm. Half of this podcast predicted it correctly, and the other half went with their hearts, and it didn't work out.
Also, Vegas. I mean, they went through and won. I just want to take my victory lap of I'm the only one that had them from the beginning of the playoffs and stuck with it when the Stanley Cup Final came around. So I want a victory lap for that one.
Yeah, Andrew was trying to go with the Cinderella story, and I mean, I'm not mad at him for doing it, but you got to wear that one.
Yeah.
When we made our predictions in the episode weeks ago, when Austin was out on injured reserve, I did have them going to the finals, but I had them losing. But I had them losing to the Bruins, and we saw how that worked out. That just was a massive crap show. So, I hate Vegas. It drives me insane. They've been a team for 6 years, and they get to lift the cup. But I mean, a very, very impressive run throughout the playoffs too. The similarities that you saw between the runs of the Nuggets and the Golden Knights was kind of weird. They face off against the lowest seed in the playoffs that beat, or not the Heat weren't the lowest seed, were they?
Yeah, they were the 8th.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were the 8th seed. Yeah, you're right, because the Bucks were the 1. Mm-hmm. Knocked out the number 1 seed, and but then finally ran into the buzzsaw. So the similarities are pretty crazy. It felt like you were watching the same script play out. The script writers got a little lazy in the playoffs this year, but you'll have that.
Just copy and paste.
I really disliked Vegas, just like you, James, but I actually feel a little happy for them after they won it this year, because those fans are like, when the Golden Knights first became, and 6 years ago, I just thought the fans were just like, all right, we're all going to jump on this, we're just going to go nuts, but they're going to die off in a couple years. But they've stuck with it. I mean, Vegas hasn't been fantastic between years 1 and year 6. I mean, they've been good, but not fantastic, and the fans have always been awesome. So I'm really glad they didn't win it 6 years ago against Washington, but I'm okay with them winning it now.
Yeah. But the fans, they showed some of the fans after they won it, them just sitting there like on their phones. Like, bro, if the Preds won, if the Preds won and we were there, we would have been like shirts off, waving them around, hugging anybody that wanted to hug. Like,
we would have been doing things that we can't say on this podcast.
Yeah. There was a lot of probably celebrating that you have to think. They kind of had that thing wrapped up. Like, you kind of knew you were going to win that series.
Blew the water off. Like, what was it, like 9-3 or something? Yeah.
I mean, it was.
You kind of lose the surprise, like with the Eagles Super Bowl, where we had the ball that Tom Brady had a shot at throwing towards the end zone. We had to sit there, and then when I'm looking over at the clock, 0-0, and then I was like, oh my god! So you don't have that moment when you're up 9-3. Like, it's it's kind of over. You're getting a plate of nachos. You're sitting there like, oh, when is this over? Oh my god, like give us our trophy already.
I'm ready to go to the
And
casino and gamble all my money away.
yeah, I mean the thing I actually feel worse, the like worst feeling for is actually the Minnesota Wild. Think about
Yeah.
it. That was the entrance team before the Knights,
Yeah.
and to see the Knights get one before them, they're just always mediocrity and just middle of the road, and they should come to Milwaukee and leave Minnesota, and all that nonsense.
You want to be a Wild fan?
I would hope they would rebrand, but
They're basically where the Preds players go to like die. They have so
Yeah.
many former Preds.
it's a retirement camp out
It's
there.
weird.
Definitely.
It's really strange
Yeah, it is.
fan behavior. But Andrew, hockey?
Yeah, you know me, a longtime fan of hockey, so
Yeah.
it's great to see this young team really come out and dominate the playoffs. No, but I was going to bring up the similarities of the NBA playoffs compared to the NHL playoffs. It's kind of crazy seeing two teams dominate like these two did. I mean, no series was ever really in question. I don't think for either team. So it was pretty cool to see that, and to see a game where it's like it goes to 9-3. I mean, 12 goals. I mean, that's quite a bit. I've never heard of another hockey score going that high. So, but I don't know that many.
It doesn't happen that often. It happens sometimes, but not that often.
Yeah, but I think that's really cool to have that happen. Yes, like Austin said, it does take some of the excitement away because you won, you're just waiting, you're just counting down the clock. So I get the fans acting like that too, at least being on their phone and whatnot, and because you knew you won. I mean, from the start of the third, pretty much.
Listen, as somebody who roots for North Carolina basketball, I knew we were going to win the national championship in 2009 at halftime. I still went nuts. I wasn't even there. I went nuts when we won it. So
Same with Kentucky over Kansas.
Yeah, like you had a feeling it was going to happen.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, congrats to both of those teams. Getting their first championships in the team's history.
Yeah.
Both of those teams are definitely in a position to win multiple championships.
Yeah.
I'm glad Marcia won the Conn Smythe because I hate Mark Stone. I just think he's a douche.
I found a new love for William Karlsson, though. I will say
William Karlsson at the parade. Now, Nikola Jokic does not like parades. They had that whole.
Dude, he wanted to stay though.
he goes.
William Karlsson, on the other hand,
he goes, win this parade, and they're like Thursday, and he's like, I need to go home. William Karlsson, on the other hand, was ready to get turned. Man, he's like, don't forget me. The first year this team was a thing, I was him. And now we got all these players, but I'm still here, guys. So. Yeah, Jokic might not like parades, but William Karlsson sure does.
He just wanted to see his horse. That's all he wanted.
Yeah, that's what he just wants to go back to Serbia and do giant Serbian things for a couple of months, and
have you ever seen that?
Way better than everybody else.
Have you ever seen the picture of him in the little wagon with the single horse?
Yeah,
that horse is his best friend. Like he just misses his fucking horse. Oh, he just misses his horse. Jared,
fix that.
on the topic of NBA, do we want to throw it over and talk about Bradley Beal?
Yeah,
because that was a big news. I mean, the Suns are doing all this just to beat that big Serbian guy we were just talking about. So,
and I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. What kind of defense are they going to play? What kind of depth are they going to have? They're going to
they're not going to have any depth. They're going to have like Andrew as their sixth man. He's about to get a call on a couple.
I was about to tweet at him and let him know I'd come out for $90,000. So
you're my friend and everything, but I don't think that's going to cut it against Nikola Jokic. But
we're missing one more trade. Kristaps Porzingis went to the Celtics.
Yep.
So I don't know how good of a trade. Kristaps Porzingis hasn't really been much of anything since he went to the Mavs.
Has he been hurt though?
Very good.
He gets hurt a lot.
He's been injury prone. He was okay with the Mavs for a very short period of time, and he's just kind of been a shell of the player we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
But the Suns, like we said, they were talking about how they're going to cut Chris Paul, and now they're using him to trade him to the Wizards to get Bradley Beal.
By the way.
yeah, he's going to get bought out, and that deal that was supposed to happen all those years ago when he was supposed to play with Kobe, he's probably going to end up in the Lakers
Yeah.
with LeBron.
with
Yep.
LeBron. LeBron will probably sign a 1 year. Chris Paul will sign a 1 year. Chris Paul will retire after next year, and LeBron will go play with Bronny.
What about Draymond? You think he comes in too?
I think he just wants a bag.
I think he goes to LA. I really do.
Do you really?
Hmm.
I don't know. I think that he ends up with Golden State still. I guess at this point in time,
I think he opted out on more money than what he
$27 million.
he's going to make. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think that's more. I think he wants out. Either that or he's being pushed out.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, at a point where you've won 4 championships in your career, you know, you've won the Defensive Player of the Year. Like,
Mhm.
you're never going to be an MVP when you're a player like Draymond Green. So I mean, you've done everything you can do as a player. So I could see him trying to go, and I mean, he loves LeBron, so we know that.
Yeah, they're in
wouldn't
France right now.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be
he's
surprised.
recruiting him right now over to LA.
Yeah.
I still think he'll end up back with Golden State, but it would be very interesting to see him and LeBron.
Yeah,
It'd be very interesting to see what that would do to the chemistry of Golden State without Draymond.
I'd like to see it go the other way around too, though. Like bring LeBron to Golden State.
Let's not do that.
No,
I'm all for that. So
I'm good on that. Thanks, though.
yeah.
The amount of hate that would create on the internet would be freaking wild.
So it's perfect.
LeBron's already done something that made him hated by like half of America once before, so I don't know if he wants to do something like that again, but you never know. It'll be interesting to see, and we'll go there. Are you pointing at your ring finger there?
Yeah, I'm just saying it brings another ring. Who cares if you're hated if you get another
there's
one?
a giant. I don't know. There's a giant Serbian that might have something to say about that, and win this parade.
He's gonna win a couple more.
Yeah, he's not done.
No.
You know, I kind of hated on him because he won those MVPs over Joel Embiid, but after this playoff series, I love that guy.
He's so damn good, and it's like he's so boring to watch, but at the same time, he's so mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah, he's an anomaly.
Literally, he just flicks the ball up, and it's in every freaking time. It's crazy.
Me and my brother-in-law were watching it at the beach last week, and we're like, "Oh, there's Jokic. Oh, well, he's got 3 dudes on him. He scored anyway. All right."
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law, who doesn't even watch basketball, is like, "How do you even guard that?" I'm like, "You can't.
I don't know.
You literally can't."
It reminds me of James U at the church we used to play at, playing with all those people that were about 5'10", and you just get the ball above your head and just that's all he does.
It's the closest I will ever feel to Nikola Jokic in my life. Yeah, playing with a bunch of homeschool kids at the church.
Good shot, Nick.
Good shot.
Same church.
Shouts out Christian and Nick. And we know you're watching.
Of course.
But that we'll transition to a different sport, and that's soccer. The United States men's national team won the CONCACAF Nations League. In their path, they left the carcasses of our neighbors to the north and south, absolutely demolishing Mexico 3-0 in a game that was overshadowed by a lot of chippiness. It was crazy to see. It got me really fired up to see guys like Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest just going at it with the Mexican players. And
he comes like his shirt's completely ripped off. Crazy.
Weston McKennie's a dog.
Yeah,
I love that guy. And, you know, now we have this Balogun kid who is the striker who was born in New York, but then he grew up in England, and he played for the U21 England team, and he scored his first goal in the final against Canada. And I think that we finally found our striker, and we're very young. And I call me biased, but in 2026, when that World Cup is partially in the United States, our midfield is set. We saw how good our midfield was against England last year. So we could be pretty fun to watch.
Let's see what happens in the Gold Cup coming up first.
Well, but the Gold Cup, the thing about the Gold Cup is, have you seen our roster in the Gold Cup? It's like Pulisic and McKennie and Dest and Balogun. Like, none of them are playing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah, I mean, I just think it's really good for people who love soccer in the United States. I mean, I like soccer, but I'm not a huge, but once you get the U.S. being relevant again, and I'm not saying that they completely aren't relevant, but they're not like a top team. Like when they go into the World Cup, they're not going to win it. And
we're
so
generally ranked like 12 to 16
Right.
in the
Like
world.
we are celebrating if we get past the group stage in the World Cup. Well, if our goal becomes to win the World Cup and we are good enough to do that, I think it's going to be huge for soccer. Like the MLS, and then all the youth players coming up. So obviously, I root for the U.S. every single time, and I hope they become something special, like you think they might be able to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
I
really
made
did like. I really like the attitude of the team, and I always say when a team starts having fun, that's when they
Mhm.
become dangerous. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. When a team starts goofing off and they're like having fun, oh, dangerous. Do you know that
Yeah.
they had a competition to see how many bounce passes they could do during the game in Mexico? Filthy. They're
and we
playing
pooped on it.
side games and they're up 3-0. That's hilarious. I love that.
That's
They're
beautiful
literally
disrespect.
like, it's a free kick. You have to put it over here and let me have that quick. Bounce pass. All going in,
That's so
bounce
cool.
pass to each other. Bounce pass. It was just like, what? They're literally doing a side game and they made comments about it in interviews. Love that. I love the energy. Team going and eating Raising Canes, getting cane sauce and dunking it out of the cup. Love that. I love this team. Love the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a student who she has Mexican heritage. She would wear her Mexico jersey to school like once a week, and I'd always chant "Dos Acero" at her. But I think the chant coming back in August might have to be Tres Acero. Need to let her know. So
Hmm.
it's called soccer. It's been established now. So
Facts.
we can stop with this football stuff. It's
Football.
called soccer now. Andrew, you have anything to add about the U.S. men's national team?
I honestly I hadn't been keeping up with it. But hearing you guys talk about it, I mean, it definitely brings some excitement to it. I mean, anytime teams winning and like you said, Austin, just playing games, having fun, goofing off, even during a game. Um, I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, that's one of the things like Steph Curry, one of my, if not my favorite basketball player of all time. One of the things I like watching him do is like in the warm ups where he's goofing off, around the back, spinning around backwards, doing the full court shot, whatever, just goofing off, stuff like that. So that's always fun to watch. So I hope it definitely brings more attention to soccer in the U.S. because I feel like it doesn't get enough love. And like when you see highlights of different countries having a real soccer game or
It's the
football,
it's
whatever,
the biggest
it's
sport in the world.
it's
It's the
crazy to
Oh, it's
see.
insane.
Like the
Yeah.
atmosphere, it's just electric. It's energizing. I wish that was here, but I'm part of the problem too because I don't consume the.
Yeah, but if they were challenging for a World Cup, you
You
would want
would be.
Oh yeah, no,
And
I
the,
would be.
that.
in 2026, boys, they're going to be in Atlanta, and Andrew
I mean,
lives
I'm
like an
going.
hour and a half from Atlanta. I'm just
I'm
saying.
Yep.
going.
Hey,
Like, we got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And imagine Bills Mafia and the Eagles fan base, and then every other NFL fan base getting behind one team.
Yeah.
oh
Like
yeah.
Eagle, it'd be like that picture of like the Crips and the Bloods holding up their bandanas tied together.
Tied together.
Like, all of us with our bandana, the Cowboys, the Eagles, all these USA, baby. Yeah, we've got till 2026 to make this happen, but
That
it
would be
could be a
so
lot
cool.
of fun. Yeah, I mean that's something that's a once in a lifetime thing. You get to go to a World Cup game, so it could be very good content for the pod too, because it's still going to be alive then. So don't worry, to our loyal viewers. But that leads me to my next point. We're going to jump to another sport, and that's baseball. And I would just like to be the first one on this podcast to issue a massive apology to the Cincinnati Reds. We said that they were going to be one of the worst teams in baseball, and it's not like it was a controversial thing to say. But they've won 11 games in a row. They're first in the division. They have one of the most exciting young players in the league, in Ellie De La Cruz. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against the Reds. They've just not been very good for a while. So good for them. Cincinnati is getting their swagger back. They've got Joe Burrow up there, and now they have Ellie De La Cruz and the Reds. So props to them.
And they're also lucky they play in a bad division. Sorry, Austin, but it's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like I'm happy for them too because I don't have anything against the Reds. I just hope it lasts because baseball is one of those streaky sort of sports. We saw the A's go on a 5-game winning streak again. Sorry, Austin, and so you just don't know. You just don't know if the Red streak is going to hold. I hope it does because that division's wide open for either Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, or Cincinnati to take. So who knows? But I love seeing young electric players like taking over the game. And I think that's what De La Cruz is doing right now.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's what
will.
baseball needs.
Hmm.
I'll definitely agree. Cincinnati's hot.
Mhm.
And there was a point at work, what was it, last week, maybe a week and a half ago? I'm sitting there and I'm like, how do we lose 9 games and we're still in first place? Can someone explain that to me? Like, how bad is the Central? So I will admit, we are
Yeah.
god awful. We lost 9 games straight and we were still like 2 games ahead in first. And it wasn't because like we were that far ahead. It was because the Pirates also lost 11 games straight.
It's because
just
everyone
like,
else in that division sucks also.
oh my god, it was so bad. And then like
and then they called up Dela Cruz, dude. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy to see the impact he's had on that team as a whole.
Reminds me of,
wait
like,
for
Brad
Sal
Cassidy.
Frelick. He's coming up. Sal Frelick's coming up this month. Or the Italian stallion. He's gonna turn it around. Right, we're gonna come back. All right, it's happening.
We're gonna see about that.
We'll see.
I've called out all of these rookies. I've called out at the beginning of the year. I want you to go back to the baseball one episode. I mentioned all these rookies that have been talented. It's not my fault that they're all getting hurt. And then we just have to call up the next one. He's a star, and then he gets hurt. And then we call up the next one. He's a star, and he gets hurt. We'll just cycle through them until we get good. It's
So we
fine.
need to go ahead and start a GoFundMe for Sal Frelick's inevitable downfall.
Yes. Sal Frelick's going to have like 16 home runs. He's going to come in like 2 weeks, and then he's immediately going to blow up both of his knees, and I'm going to cry myself to sleep. So,
That's intense. Andrew, this is another sport you don't really.
Yeah.
You're not super
what do you watch, Andrew?
Listen,
Do
You want
you-
Steph
relax.
Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry, of course.
That's awesome.
And the
Nah,
Eagles
I'm
when
just-
they're good.
I'm just waiting on my Reds jersey to come in the mail. It should be here by now, but
You're
Now
gonna put
listen,
it right next to your.
but here's the deal. Here's the deal with that.
You don't have a baseball team.
You
yet.
don't have a baseball team, so if you want to hop on the Reds bandwagon and
That's
be a
hot
big
take,
Ellie
Mike.
Dela Cruz
Jump
fan,
on.
I'll let you do it. I will allow it.
You
He'll
can
let
put that
me do
Reds
it.
jersey right next to that Joe Burrow jersey that you were a fan of for like
Since
3
you're
and
a
a half.
big Cincinnati guy and everything, yeah.
you know, born and raised.
Of course, the last time you gave love to Cincinnati, they lost
They
to
lost
Patrick
everything.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah.
your actual favorite team did the same thing.
Same thing,
Anyway,
yeah.
so the next point, the Oakland A's, we've talked ad nauseum about how horrible they are, and they still are. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they
still
are.
a horrible baseball team. They reeled off a few in a row, and their fans had this reverse boycott to show that they're not the problem, where they packed the stadium for the first time all season. And then at the end of the game, they threw trash on the field. That was the most petty thing I've ever seen. That
I
was
find
wild.
it like the utmost form of disrespect, and I love every minute of it because that organization sort of deserves that. So I love it.
Didn't they were silent till the other team first scored a run too, right?
Yeah.
Which is filthy. It's like you're literally just
That's a crazy organization. Like,
Yeah.
Props to them.
Yeah, no, organizing that whole thing and filling that stadium, awesome. It shows
Yeah,
how many
fantastic.
fans they really have and how pissed off they really are to the core to like organize that whole like how much communication does that take? Like, that's insane.
And meanwhile, Vegas is in a corner like,
We're ready. Come on in. You saw what the Golden Knights
we'll
did.
pour money into the team, baby. We just brought a championship home.
Yeah,
So-
you saw what the Golden Knights did. Come on in.
And the
6
Raiders are
years.
like, what about us? And we're like, shut up, Raiders. You're terrible. So, yeah. But that was very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when the A's do move to Las Vegas, new ownership, people who will actually spend money. I mean, the A's are a very historic franchise. I have an Oakland A's hat somewhere just because I thought it was cool looking. And why would I have anything against them? The earliest memory I have of them is rooting for them against the Yankees in the ALCS when Jeter made that play at home plate. Stupid.
Yambi right through the freaking legs.
Yeah. But that will bring us to our break for this episode. And on the other side of this break, we're about to start a journey that is about to last for quite a while. With pretty interesting implications. Two of our panelists here have no idea what we're going to do here, but it's going to be a fun one.
It'd be fun.
All right, welcome back. I'm just going to jump right into this segment again. Half of this pod has no idea what we're about to do, but I am labeling this segment Jordan Isom, the decision, and this is part 1. Jordan, I'm going to go ahead and let you bring us into this. Give these guys the background, give our listeners the background, and let them know what we're doing here.
Okay, so I think as most of you all know, James, I know you know, I've never really had a favorite college football team. It's never really something I've had. I root for USC now because of Caleb Williams. I rooted for Miami back in the early 2000s because it was Miami and they were awesome. Randomly rooted for Georgia for like 5 years in college, but I mean, I grew up a Kentucky fan and I never found any interest in their football team because they were trash. So I have a list of 10 teams that I'm going to commit my loyalty to for the remainder of my being. And I want your all's help. The final decision will come up to me, and that's that. But you all have all the room in the world to persuade me, and this includes the people watching. Drop everything in the comment. Let me know. So
and we will be eliminating a team every week.
Every week we will eliminate one until we get down to 3. And then I'll make that decision some point in the upcoming season just as I get persuaded and whatnot. So I'm going to go through my list of 10 teams one by one, give a little bit of pro and con to them, and then I want to hear on each one what you all think, like first thoughts. And then at the end of it, James, right, I'll be eliminating one today?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just start with the obvious one, which is USC. USC is my current favorite team, mainly because of Caleb Williams. It'd be easier because I already have some USC gear and stuff. They also have my favorite player ever, which is Reggie Bush. The problems with USC is they're really far away. I'm never going to go to the Coliseum to see them play. That's just the facts. And also, their games don't start till like 10 p.m. So it's super late. Sometimes I like that, but other times I'm just tired and I don't really want to watch them that late. So they don't really have a lot of primetime games. So I want to hear your all's thoughts on USC then.
I don't think. I mean, it doesn't fit the local. Like I get like college. I mean, supporting a team never has to be local. We are all representatives of that.
Sure.
But I do like the fact that you can go to games. Like I have friends and family in Philly. I can go to games there. I have friends and family in Tampa. I can go to games there. I have family in Milwaukee. I go to games all the time. So you do need that ability to put your feet on the ground and visit.
Right.
Especially
Holy
with a
land.
sport like college football.
Yeah.
That's the sport you really need to go be a
You
part
want
of.
that
Like,
experience. You
You
have
want to be
have
there.
connection. Yeah.
as somebody who went and saw his favorite team play in every home game except for the Alabama game last year, there's nothing like it.
Mhm.
You know, so I understand that being a big part of this decision. USC, very historic. They do currently have the best player in college football on their team, in Caleb Williams. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And Lincoln Riley has this horrible way of just kind of blowing it whenever you think he's got it in the bag.
Yeah.
So
They also
I
don't
like
play
Lincoln
defense,
Riley.
and I love defense. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I love watching good defense, and so that does, weigh into it a little bit. I think.
Well, that eliminates every Pac-12 and Big 12 team that you might have.
Don't worry, I don't have any Big 12. Well, okay, we'll get there. But
Yeah,
I definitely don't have any more Pac-12 teams. That much I promise. Andrew, what do you think of USC?
I mean, I personally hate the team, but
he
I
has
get
since Matt Barkley. Andrew hated Matt Barkley.
I understand that.
But like James and Austin have said, it's really about, especially for me, college football is being there.
Yeah.
There is no other feeling like knowing I'm going to the game in Knoxville on Saturday, especially if that guy right below me is with me. Like, no better feeling than to look forward to that moment. Like, it's I mean, it makes my whole month knowing I'm going to get to go and I'm going to be in that atmosphere. I'm going to be in that crowd and just support that team. So, I mean, knowing right away that you're not going to ever go to a game, I mean, if you do, it'd be a hand, like on one hand, you can count how many times you're going to a game.
It'd be like a once-in-a-lifetime thing to go to the Coliseum.
Also, like, USC doesn't have the fans that these schools around here have. So it wouldn't be the same experience. That experience you're talking about wouldn't really be there as much with USC.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have that college game day vibe.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
I mean, I think you
They
get that
have
out of
loyal
like.
fans. They have good fans, don't get me wrong, but they're Los Angeles fans. Like, I know the same thing with Dodgers fans. They're loyal, but they're LA fans, right? There's so
You're
much.
not gonna, and I'm not just saying this because the other three of us are representatives of these conferences, but you're not gonna find fans like you do in the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yep.
So like those are the two most passionate conferences, without a doubt.
No question.
100%.
So we'll jump over to number 2 then. Number 2, main reason that I have them on here is because they're close to me and I've been up to a game before. It's Virginia Tech.
Oh, not what I was expecting.
The issues with Virginia Tech is I really hate the ACC. It'd be so hard for me to be a fan of a team in the ACC. I did love the game that I went to. What is it? Enter the Sandman or whatever they
Yeah,
play.
Inner Sandman. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's sick. So, but I've also really never been a fan of Virginia Tech. Actually, I've really never even paid attention to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So, again, with each of these teams, I kind of have to ask a question to myself, like, would I really be able to love this team? And I don't know if I could find that with Virginia Tech. So
That's the big thing with Virginia Tech, especially in Northeast Tennessee. It's not a far drive. I've been to multiple games at Lane Stadium, and I mean, it's a great place to see a game.
We went to
And Inner Sandman is super cool,
yeah,
but it doesn't match. And the Virginia Tech fans would disagree, but it doesn't match up to, Camp Randall Stadium. It doesn't match up to Neyland Stadium. It doesn't match up to the Big House or the Horseshoe or anything like that.
Right, Stadium or-
there's not as many seats.
Yeah,
It's not as loud. The fans are slightly. I mean, they support their team, but I mean,
They're loyal,
it's not that. You had 90 to 100,000 fans in Neyland Stadium whenever Tennessee was Cheeks. So it's not the same kind of passionate fan base. Me and Andrew did go to a Virginia Tech Georgia Tech game a few years ago, and it was fun. We went to root for Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech smacked the piss out of them. But like, it's a cool atmosphere, but it doesn't stack up to some of the other atmospheres that I know are on your list.
Also, just your ACC comment. That's really like, when will the ACC finally just be as dissolved? And
it will.
broken?
It will.
It's gonna Big East it here soon, and we're never gonna see it again. So I feel like it's like the little step sibling of the SEC, and it's just kind of like a school. Oh, when do we get to play our ACC team so we get to just beat the crap out of somebody?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it'd be hard for me to be a fan of an ACC team, to be honest.
And Clemson had their couple of years, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence's freshman year, Clemson was absolutely unreal. But I mean, that Clemson team that they had was his last year there. They went up against Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow just went.
Joe Burrow did that to most people that he faced.
Yeah, dude, he threw
dog.
7 touchdowns on Oklahoma's head in the semifinal.
Yeah.
So in one half.
I will say positives for Virginia Tech. I don't mind their colors.
I don't either.
I like
but
Their logo is historic. I mean, it's just.
I mean, that's a big part of this too. You have to remember, like, he already wears USC merch, so like,
it's not
color
the
is
same.
wearing. Yeah,
It's maroon and orange. Second of all, a Hokie is a castrated turkey. Why would you want to root for a castrated turkey?
And don't
See,
pick your
this is why I
team
wanted
based
to
off the
this debate
colors.
right
but-
here.
I never said I like the mascot. I just said I have to wear those colors a lot. I'm okay with those colors.
That's just my case. Go ahead, Jordan. Jump to the next.
I will say when it comes to the fashion is a part of it. Like it has to be, because I can't find myself wearing Wyoming brown, right? Like, I mean, let's just call it what it is. We're gonna move on to the third one, which is gonna be controversial.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, Wyoming. No, it's gonna be controversial to say the least. It's Georgia. So the big thing against Georgia, and this is huge, it would be bandwagon. And I don't want to be a bandwagon with this. Period. End of story. I just don't. But there's a reason why it wouldn't be bandwagon too, because I was actually a Georgia fan for about 5 or 6 years throughout my college days. So it'd be kind of going back to that. I still have Georgia merch. I have like 3 or 4 shirts, several hats, but it still would feel bandwagon because this is a different era for Georgia.
Yeah.
Does it come with a free Eagles shirt?
Yeah, right.
Okay, let me go ahead and start right there. That's a con for you right there. They are very linked to the Philadelphia Eagles.
They are.
Also, their fans bark at people. Their fans are the worst fans. They are the worst fans in college football. I hate Georgia. I hate them.
They're worse than Bama fans?
They're worse than Bama fans.
Bama doesn't bark at people, bro.
Yeah, Bama's just like, hey, boy, tracks. But that's fine. I can deal with that. Like, they've never. Jordan, we went to a bar in Nashville before a Predators game. Remember when
I was
Jalen
a Georgia
Hurts had to
fan.
come in? Yeah,
you were a Georgia fan. Georgia. It was the SEC championship.
Jalen Hurts had to come in when Tua got hurt, and he saved the day because he's daddy, and I love him so much. And I didn't know how much I loved him at the time. But if you recall,
Because
we
he's
saw a
fatty, and I
grown
love
man.
him so much.
We saw a grown man in a dog harness. He was wearing a dog harness and like biker shorts and nothing else. Is that what you want to be a part of? That's weird.
Not
That's super weird.
Not
I don't even think I need to argue anything else. That
No,
kind of did it right there.
I mean,
This guy's eating, bro.
Hey, I was just
Hold
gonna
on.
let
Just
him.
let him cook, bro.
I was gonna let him feast, man. All those are really good points. And honestly, when it comes to Georgia, like I liked them because of their. I mean, they have a great atmosphere. No matter what you want to say about their fans, they do have a great atmosphere.
no
And
doubt,
that's
it was
kinda why I
a game changer against
But I
Tennessee this
think
year.
I think ever since they became what they are now with Kirby Smart, they probably the fans and everything have taken it to another level.
Yeah.
That and when I rooted for them, that wasn't really going on.
Mark
So
Richt was there when you jumped on that
Mark
bandwagon.
Richt
So
yep. And they were, I mean, they were like middle of the pack.
they were decent, and that
They're
was the
not
year
good.
that the Auburn beat them on the miracle of Jordan Hare.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So moving on from one that's controversial to one that's probably not going to be controversial because I don't know if anybody's going to want me to be a fan of this team, but I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Arkansas. There's just a
Yeah.
piece of me that's always liked Arkansas. They've always been like my favorite team in the SEC West. I think college football's a little better when Arkansas is good, and I'm hoping that they're heading back in that direction. They kind of showed some spark.
Yeah.
But it's also like the con is like it's Arkansas. If I went to a game, I'd literally have to step in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, there's
So
two things in Arkansas: the only diamond mine in the United States and the headquarters of Walmart. That's it. Now, Sam Pittman is an excellent coach. I don't think he's going to be at Arkansas for the long stretch. I think somebody will eventually snatch him up. I
Yeah.
get it. Whenever we were in high school in those days, Darren McFadden was there. You know, they ran that wild hog offense, which was like the first Wildcat offense. It's very exciting. But like you said, like, meh. You know,
Yeah,
when I gave you my feedback of your initial list, it was just like, who cares? So that's the thing about them is the biggest thing that they've done in our lifetime was having a quarterback fumble against Tennessee in one of the biggest games in their team's history. So
Any other thoughts on Arkansas?
When I think of Arkansas, the first image that comes to my mind is how fat Brett Bielema got when he left Princeton and went there, and then like he found Southern food, like he found barbecue, and he was just ballooned. Like that man was massive. Like his coaching shirt looked like it was a tablecloth that they just like cut a hole in and just like let him just stand there on the sideline. So that negative thought is always in my head when I see Arkansas merch.
I want to throw this in there. Fun fact about Brett Bielema, Jordan. Brett Bielema approached me and Jordan in our high school's cafeteria looking for our head football coach. And of course did land our 4-star quarterback at that time. So he walked up to me and Jordan was like, "Hey, do you know where Coach Carter is?" And we were like, "You're Brett Bielema." He was like, "Yeah." He also has an Iowa tattoo on the back of his leg because he went to Iowa. I saw it when he came out to our practice, but that's about all I have for him.
Yeah, not the biggest fan of that guy. He's a very large guy. But then, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of negatives. I mean, you do have something like you get to claim like, oh, I'm an Arkansas fan. No one's gonna be like, oh, look at this bandwagon guy. This guy's team. Yeah, look at this guy. Yeah. So you get to be like original and kind of like your own thing, which is kind of cool. But like also, if you wanted to go to a game, you do have to go to Arkansas. So that's not.
Well, I also have to ask myself the question: could I love this team? And again, I come back to the result of it's literally Arkansas. So I don't know if that's possible.
I like that they're in the conversation. It adds like a spicy little mix. It's what do you want for dinner? And she says grocery store sushi. You're just like, oh, that's something different. I don't know if I want it, but it's different.
It is different. Yeah. Also, they're in the SEC, so you would have that SEC thing. So.
And they're in the SEC West. So I actually think.
Well, that's not going to be a thing after this year. So
no, that's gone.
That's true.
Yeah.
SEC and it not being the East and the West next year. This is a team that's coming to the SEC next year, Texas. So I've always liked Texas just fine. They're obviously one of the most historied programs in all of college football, and I think they have an extremely bright future. Also, their logo is iconic, probably, in my opinion, the most iconic logo in college football, besides maybe the U. So But really, the reason that I'm kind of leaning against them is because that's really who my wife wants me to choose, and I don't know if I really want to go that route.
Last time you picked a team your wife wanted you to choose, you picked the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go. Also,
you picked the Commanders.
yeah,
I
well,
missed
they were
this
the
one.
Redskins at the time,
She's from Maryland, so.
Oh, I
But
gotcha.
let me just go ahead and say this: without the state of Tennessee, they'd be the University of Mexico.
This doesn't have anything to do with history.
Davy Crockett is not a shooter. We're not bringing this back into this. We're not doing this. So
Shut your mouth.
we're not even getting into this. Not even going there. I'm just
Crockett's
gonna
a
say
shooter.
pros
Check the
of
bio on
having you.
Instagram.
All right, stop with Davy Crockett. The pros of him wanting to be a Texas fan is I follow you on Twitter, and for some reason also follow Matthew McConaughey. So it would be great to see you both tweet on the same day. Texas is back, baby, and I would be like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. So I mean, that's the only positive I can think of it. But like,
You also have some sort of like continuity there of being a Cowboys fan. So
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
so that
there's
links it up
that.
too.
And
Yeah.
it is who Victoria's rooted for like 3 years because she just
Yeah.
loves their uniforms. So
I will say the colors. I like the burnt orange. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's just
nice.
burnt Tennessee.
it's literally iconic. Like I love it.
Yeah,
There
it's
was
not
the,
bad.
but the big argument, especially whenever you brought this segment up to me, and we were talking, is the biggest thing they've done in our lifetime is beating that team whose hoodie you have on right now, and ending something that could have been a massive dynasty with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and all those cats.
Yeah.
So, do you want to make that jump? That's a
I
big
will say
question to
it
ask.
is
Yeah.
just coming into jersey colors too. You're basically all blue and white, so you do need a little diversity in the closet. Like
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. I know this.
I'm saying I don't want him to pick a blue and white team, as
Yeah.
he's got to have a little diversity. So that might be my negative on a blue and white team. You already have a lot of blue and white merch.
Do I have any
so.
blue and white teams on here?
No.
Negative Ghost Rider.
That means Kentucky is not on it. Will Levis, you suck. All right, go ahead.
Because he ate the mayonnaise and the coffee. That's why he's not doing it.
The main reason Kentucky's not on here is because I can't really root for their football team. Literally, I've had every reason to, and I've just never been able to get into it. So they are not on this list. The next one is another SEC school that, again, I've always liked. It's LSU. So a lot of reasons behind LSU, and really the big reason that's lifting them up is everywhere I look, it's quoted as the best college atmosphere in college football, and it's hands down not even close. Literally every list I've looked at, LSU is number one. Also, Andrew, shouts out Andrew. I love Joe Burrow there, obviously. I mean, who didn't? Who didn't love Joe Burrow?
100%.
They're also a rival of Alabama, whom I hate. So that's another positive. The negatives are, it's in Louisiana, and it's still pretty far away from me. I think when I was looking it up, it was like 6.5 hour drive. Like it's a decent trek to get there. So it's just like it's still far away. Could I go to games? Sure, but it would have to be like a whole thing, like a whole week trip instead of going down for a day. So yeah, LSU's on there. And
I'm not even going to really make much of an argument here. I'm just going to pass it to the only guy in this chat that's been to Tiger Stadium for a game. Andrew, would you like to tell me what happened when you went to Tiger Stadium?
Well, I'm just going to say it felt like Neyland Stadium that day.
Watching your trap take over your trap.
Like you said.
That don't happen in Neyland.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, that was the one thing, the one negative I had on the list, I was going to bring that up, is the way UT kind of went down and just took over. I mean, yes, it's a different year for the Vols. Last year just felt different all around. So I would have liked to have seen a game where LSU was dominating the game, but not that game. Definitely not that game. But to experience it like that. But I mean, the campus is amazing. It's beautiful. I love the area. I mean, it's a fun city. It's a fun town. It's exciting, but I mean, it felt like Neyland.
Neyland South.
Yeah.
Well, I think
if you'd have been there for the Alabama game, it would have been a different story.
Oh,
I think
100%.
the big thing for LSU is their program was in shambles for quite a few years.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of things that happened between suspensions, coaching changes. I think they're on the up and up now.
But do you really want to root for fake Southern accent Brian Kelly? He's such a dork.
He is, but those videos are so funny.
They are hilarious.
I forgot
not like
about
the good way of
That
funny.
video of him doing this with that recruit, and then that recruit he jumped,
Yeah.
like he swapped schools.
I will say another positive, if you do pick them, one, you have to bring me to every game you go to because the food down there is amazing. I love it. I love it.
I bet it is. I mean, it's Louisiana, so what do you expect? Austin, what do you think?
I mean, I forgot Brian Kelly existed for a minute there, so reminding me that Brian Kelly existed added more negativity to my mind. I was gonna say it does sound like a fun place. I would definitely say pro Louisiana to Arkansas. Like you're going there, I would rather go to Louisiana than Texas. I would rather. So I mean, you were
Arkansas.
So we have some positivities in travel. Like I'd rather be there. Stadium is hype. Everything I've seen from like content from them, like they have really good social media content, like showing how like crazy it is around the stadium. So that looks cool. Arkansas does not have that. Texas has that, but Texas is like weird. It's like you got that like Southern, but like Texas accent where it's like the girls like, I'm going to Texas A&M right on your hair, and go Aggie, and you're like, oh, I hate that. So you have to deal with that voice there, but you wouldn't deal with that in Louisiana. So I mean, I think I get some pros there. Deal. What?
More of a French deal down there.
Yeah. And then also like you just get the gritty all the time. That sounds entertaining. Like that's where it was born. So
yeah.
And they tend to produce very exciting players. So
they do.
It's something fun to watch. And so yeah, that's
less negatives. I mean, Brian Kelly's a negative, but other than that,
a massive negative.
Yeah, it's a massive negative. I forgot he existed.
That and your mascot's a tiger. I mean, that's pretty cool in itself.
It's kind of sick though, yeah.
Yeah, they have a tiger, but they also cage up a tiger, and that's not ethical.
You know, he's got a huge little facility out there. He's chilling.
Colors, nice too.
Purple.
Color,
purple.
Yellow's my favorite color. So
yeah,
nice.
And purple's
changes up from your blues. I like purple. So that's nice. We got to talk about the style. So that's good.
We have a team with some positives. So
the drip, you know.
I think this is another team that's going to get a lot of positives. The Miami Hurricanes. So they are they had a specific team that was my favorite team ever in college football. And that was the early 2000s Miami. I think, honestly, we can all probably say the same thing. That was the most fun football team in the history of college football.
Yeah.
And then really, like, if I see them, like, when they made the run to the Final Four in basketball, I always root for Miami when they're on TV. If I'm flipping through, oh, Miami's playing, I'm going to watch Miami because I want to root for them. If you ask me, again, is this a team you could love? Hell yeah. I could love Miami easily.
Yeah.
But the big problem is it's still the ACC. And that's a huge, like, I'm so much leaning SEC that it really deters me away from them just because of them being in the ACC.
And the thing about Miami is those early 2000 teams were awesome, but they haven't been relevant since then.
They stank.
Like they're big bad. Like people thought Tyler Van Dyne was going to be this absolutely transcendent talent last year, and he was just meh.
Yeah,
at best. Yeah. So like they don't have a lot going for them right now.
As for their future and everything.
Yeah, like it's hard to see that future because, you know, it's just been consistent mediocrity at best ever since those really good teams.
Yeah. Another negative for Miami for me, at least for you, Jordan, would be the distance again. It's not quite as far as USC. But I mean, 13 hours. 13 hours for a drive, or you're just taking a plane. Like,
granted, though, my wife's sister does live closer to that area, so
right.
I mean, you have the vibes of the city of Miami. Like, you get to be a Florida team. That's kind of rowdy. The colors are nice. You get to buy old merch. How much Mitchell and Ness Miami merch is out there? Oof.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. You be looking good. So I mean, there's that. I mean, they always have some swagger to them, even if they're crap. Like the team could be crap and they still have swagger to them, so that's fun.
Turnover chain. Turnover
chain is what I was referencing. But
they also are the champions of mascotology, which is also a huge plus.
Yes,
true.
It's a podcast favorite team.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that they're there.
Miami had to be there. I feel like that was a necessity.
Yep.
This is a team that didn't have to be a necessity. Number 8's Auburn. Main reason that I picked Auburn is because I was a huge Cam guy when he was at Auburn. Love Cam Newton there. So that was the main reason. But and they're also another Alabama rival. But I'd have to go to Alabama to watch those games. So that's kind of an issue.
Yeah,
Also,
that's almost as bad as Arkansas.
This is kind of like a side weird thing about Auburn. It's really hard for me to root for them just because of Bruce Pearl. And I know that's basketball, but I really have a hard time rooting for the school of Auburn with Bruce Pearl being their basketball head coach.
Bruce Pearl.
I mean, it's just like James, you're a North Carolina basketball fan, but you're a Tennessee football fan. You root for Tennessee basketball. So whatever team I pick, I want to be able to root for them in basketball. There's no way in hell I'm rooting for Bruce Pearl. I'm just not.
Right. Yeah, that's
so-
definitely a negative to you. And also, like, they had the 1 year with like Nick Marshall and all those cats, where they went to the championship, lost to Jameis and that really good FSU team.
Mhm.
But I mean, aside from the Cam year and that year, you know, and you know, being a Tennessee fan, I know that's kind of rich because we haven't been worth a crap until last year. But it's just like, where are they going? They just hired Hugh Freeze. Like, that can go one of two ways. It could end with some success, or it can end with some massive sanctions.
Yeah.
So that's something you definitely have to take a step back and really look at whenever you think about this. You know, Auburn, the biggest rival of Alabama. It'd be really easy to hate Alabama, and that's fun to do.
Yeah.
Also, probably one of my favorite moments that we've ever experienced in sports together, if we weren't there, was the kick six.
It was the kick six.
Yeah. So I understand that.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like, you do have to go to Alabama, and they can't make up their mind whether they want to be the Tigers or the War Eagles, and their relevancy is very up for debate right now.
Yeah, for sure.
A positive for me, at least, they seem to always play Bama well. I think
They do.
that's
Most of the time. Most
yeah.
of the time.
most of the time. But still, to no matter how good Bama is doing that year, at least they're one of the more relevant teams that play them. They always, I don't know what it is, but they always.
It's a
seem to-
rivalry. What
Yeah,
happens in rivalries, you know? Tennessee was holding Alabama even when Tennessee was horrible.
yeah,
True.
Blood
Jonathan
boil
Crompton,
hot.
we should have beat him. Should have
Mhm.
beat him with Jonathan Crompton.
yeah. So I like that the Heart's there, even against the best team that, well, there for a while, what had been the best team. So I like that with Auburn, but like James said,
And
they
again,
can't.
SEC.
Yeah. But yeah, not being able to decide a mascot, you know, just kind of going back and forth, and not being able to root for your the basketball team either. I think that's a huge negative as well.
It is.
So
It is. Austin, any ideas?
I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, they always play Bama well, but like, have they been relevant since Cam? No.
not really.
No, they haven't. They haven't been doing anything. They're not really. You don't
But he doesn't
You
want to
don't
bandwagon a team either, though.
know either. You know, like,
No,
do you
I
want to
don't. I
go?
want a team that's relevant. I don't want a team. I don't want a Clemson. I don't want a Georgia. I don't want an Alabama. Like, I want a team that is relevant, though. I mean, like, perfect examples are like Tennessee, LSU, USC, like teams like that that have been relevant, but they're
That
not.
are gonna they're gonna
It's
mess
not a
around.
bandwagon pick. It's not a
They're
bandwagon.
gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna bring in good players. They're gonna get good
They're
recruits.
going to
Like,
be, yeah,
longevity of it too. It's more than
Yeah.
that. I will say they do have colors going for them.
they do.
I
Absolutely.
not a Bears fan, not a big Bears guy, but I still love orange and blue together. I don't know why. Love
Yeah.
that combo.
I do too.
And the golf balls I was just playing with the other day, it's that orange and blue splatter vice ball. Oh, I love orange and blue together. It looks good. Looks
Yeah.
good. Classy color combo.
Understandable.
So-
Real quick, Jordan, you
Yeah.
got two left, right?
Yep.
Do y'all care if we take a quick break right before the last two?
Yeah, the last two are going to be the most fun.
All right,
Let's
Why, are
do
you
it.
gonna piss your pants?
we'll see.
All right, welcome back. We're down to Jordan's final two teams in his top 10 of teams that he's going to pledge his allegiance to for not this coming football season, but the football season after that. So, Jordan, I'll go ahead and let you take that away.
Yeah, I still got to root for my man Caleb Williams before he gets drafted first overall. So we've sparked some debate with the first 8 teams, but these last two, I think, are going to spark some serious debate. Number 9 is the Tennessee Volunteers. Okay, you have to listen to my whole thing, and you have to be unbiased to everything I say, because everything I say is not to be mean. It's the truth. It would be very easy to root for Tennessee. It'd be very easy to go to games. I'd get to go with my best friends, drink lots of only water because that's all we drink, and have
In
a hell
brown
of a
bottles.
time. Would I have a hell of a time? Oh yeah, I would. Their fan base is phenomenal, yet very, very annoying. And I grew up with that my entire life, dealing with fans that I just could not put up with all the time. And I've literally always hated them. Out of every sports team in the NFL, MLB, NBA, college, Tennessee's literally the bottom to me, and they always have been. So can I really pledge my allegiance and find it in my heart to love them? That's the big question for me. So, and also like, I hate that orange, man. I just hate it.
You will come to love it.
Like that's my biggest reasons.
So our gear is cool. You will come to love it. Smoky grays, the black uniforms.
It's the orange.
Yeah, I get it, but
Y'all get the blacked out jerseys. Those are
Listen,
sick.
yeah, they're dirty. And also
Yeah, but they're still
somebody
gonna wear the
who
orange sometimes.
they will wear the orange. I mean, that's the go-to. But as somebody who decided to be rebellious through part of my life and go for like nearly a decade of my life and root against Tennessee, I grew up a Tennessee fan, and then I jumped ship really because I was a rebellious teenager and I wanted to upset my father. And he knows that. Coming back home and being a part of that, I know that you've never been a Tennessee fan, but especially right now, we're on the upward trajectory. We're landing 4 and 5 stars every day. You're a Cowboys fan. You like to be a villain. If you like to be a villain, there's no better team to pick than the Tennessee
I understand
Volunteers.
that. When you say like you came home, you're from Tennessee.
Yeah, I know.
Why? That was never my home. Like that was, I mean, I don't say that. Obviously, I lived in Tennessee the majority of my life, but
Yeah.
that was never like my home team. That's not who I was raised trying to root for, right? Like that's not who my parents wanted. Well, my mom, but like I was really watching sports with my dad, who's a big Kentucky fan, and we can maybe say that I'm being rebellious against Kentucky. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it's never been. I've always been on the flip side of
Yeah.
Tennessee.
But think about, first of all, you live like not far from your mom at all now. Big
Mhm.
Tennessee fan. We're going to go to Neyland this year. We're going to go to the South Carolina game. Austin, if you'd like to come down for that one, it's going to be absolutely rowdy. The atmosphere at Tennessee, dude, I wish you could have been with me at the Kentucky game last year because it was, the game before Halloween, and we wore the black jerseys and we played Spooky Rocky Top and we ran out of the tunnel, and you just knew that Will Levis was screwed. Like, you knew he was screwed.
Well, that's
And
because he's Will Levis.
he's Will Levis. But, some of the most passionate fans in college football, the best ability is availability, and the Tennessee Volunteers are very, very available to you. I will make it my mission to go to as many games with you as I can.
You're gonna pitch it hard, and I'm looking forward to it. But again,
And at the end of the day, my friend, come to the dark side.
So Tennessee, in my mind, would be the easiest choice. It really would. But it would also be, I don't know if I could root for them. And in this long journey we're going to take, I have to ask myself, and I have to make sure 100% that I could fall in love with them and root for them. I don't know if I can. Right now, that's going to be the determining factor, I think, for Tennessee.
I think that in rooting for other teams like Rick Barnes, he might choke.
Rick Barnes is a great guy.
But he's a stand-up guy. Tony Vitello's awesome. The baseball team did get eliminated last night, but the baseball team is super fun to watch. You're an hour and a half away from Knoxville. It could be a lot of fun, man.
I know all the positives.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives.
There's a lingering cloud.
There is some negatives. One, you're
Here we go. This is
driving.
what I was waiting on. Go ahead.
You went and picked up James. You're on the highway heading towards Knoxville, heading east. You're
No,
right
I'm
by
gonna
the
go pick you
zoo,
up.
and there's potholes this big. You are
This is not Mississippi, bro. This is
World
not
War III
Mississippi.
driving into that place. Knox
Not
Vegas
that
is
bad.
the potholes
It
are
is
bad.
not that bad.
I also don't.
We will. Editor James, please. Hey, Jared, please edit in here. I want pictures of the highway, satellite images. I want them popped
was
up
the
here. I
last
want
time
the
you were here,
potholes you
though?
can
I
see
mean,
from
come on, man.
space. From space. It's terrible.
This
I've
is a
always
pretty poor argument.
I have always disliked Knoxville. I've just found it a little grungy. That's the biggest thing. Like,
It's greasy. It's
Mhm.
greasy, that city.
Mhm.
I will
Don't
say.
gotta live there. Don't gotta live there.
No, of
You don't
course
have to
not.
live there.
I'm
That's
definitely not
true.
gonna live there, yeah.
Somebody's got to throw negatives out here. Somebody's got to do it. I'm gonna say the highway system is jank.
We're
Every time you
reaching to
hit
the
traffic,
highway and the
That's
the
fine. He's
grease.
reaching. It's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
gonna
Let him
say,
keep going.
what is that orange?
Okay.
What is that orange match? What is that orange match? What are you wearing that with?
I don't
Black and
like
gray
I
and
hate
white,
Hey,
Yeah, one of my bosses. He's a Tennessee guy.
which is pretty good to
He's
me.
from Knoxville. He's one of my favorite people, and I love people that are Tennessee fans. But man, that orange does not work with khakis. Stop wearing it. It looks
Yes, it does.
stupid. You
Yes,
look
it does.
dumb. No,
Yes,
it
it
doesn't.
does.
You look
I have to
dumb.
agree.
bro,
I have to
I'm
agree
about to throw on the fit right now. Like it
Not the
works.
khakis with that orange. It does
You
not
can
go.
throw
It
that
looks
shit on, man.
stupid.
I can't stand that hat that you're wearing right now. It's
Yeah,
like
the
blinding.
hat's
It
the
got
wrong
the
color.
right. It's different.
Ah,
Look,
That's why we
I
got
don't
the
know.
black.
The black is
The
fine.
black and
The
orange.
black and the gray and the white. I like the white stuff. He's got white merch with the logo. It looks nice, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
orange. The orange is rough. That was your comment before too. I will say orange is one of my favorite colors, and that orange is weird. It reminds me of deer hunting orange. It reminds me of like sitting in a tree stand as a kid. It's like 19 degrees out. I'm freezing, and I'm being forced to sit out there. And then my uncle's cracking sodas, and I'm like, I thought we were supposed to be quiet. Like it's PTSD. That orange. I don't know about it. So.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Tennessee's going to get some very serious thought from me. And it really, everything it ultimately comes down to, can I root for them? And
Yeah.
as much as you guys try to persuade me and argue, and it could swing one way or another, that's going to be the final point when it comes to Tennessee is
Yeah.
internally, can I find myself? Because I can easily say, yeah, I'm going to be a Tennessee fan. I start rooting for them, and I just realize I can't.
Yeah.
So I have to be 100%.
I have no hate for the fan base. The fan base is hype. It was just there is negativities to Knoxville, and you guys are going to be blind to them. I've driven through that city. It's Nayland is
How long
cool.
ago was that though?
Well, I don't. I have to agree
years
with
ago?
Austin when it
Last
comes
year?
to Knoxville,
Yeah.
though. I'm not a big fan of the city of
They
Knoxville. I'm just
fixed it.
not. It just
They
seems
haven't
grungy.
fixed it. They haven't fixed it. I've driven in there since like 7 years ago, 6 years
They
ago, 4
fixed
years
it.
ago. It always the same. They never fix them. You can see those piles from space.
All right, Austin.
Ugh.
Let's fly through this last one, which I think you're going to have a different argument about. It's the Wisconsin Badgers.
Oh
The
golly!
The reason I put Wisconsin on here, and I have one reason and one reason only, and that's because I want to hear Austin debate, and I want to see him try to persuade me. The main reason that I don't want to go that way, it's Wisconsin. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to give you your chance, Austin.
You know, I'm
first
happy.
of all, they're far away.
Now,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, let me start. You took over there, Mr. Dark Side over there. Let me take over from mine. All right.
Where's your vote,
Listen here.
Austin?
We'd be the light side, if anything. This is where the light drunk side.
The light
Drunk on
of
water
who cares,
and light
roaring
energy.
Blow it. Go ahead.
Negatives. We are far away from you, but if you were to come up here, you have a caravan of boys that would come up here, and I know they would love to come up here because they would get
That
a
is
care
true.
packages of a lot of different liquids from different places that they enjoy. So that would be a positive, and the other two sitting there can't say anything about it because they know it's true, and
That
they
is
would
true.
be hyped
They would
to come up
agree
here.
with
There's already trips planned to come up here in 2025, so you already coming up. We could then swing by, hit the game down there. I'm totally fine with that. I got places you can stay when you come up. I got, whew, yeah, loads of places. That's where my fiance is from. Like it's Madison. I can get you. We're there, baby. And just the atmosphere, State Street, it's just packed. All you see is red, as far as you can see.
I
Jump
do love the
around.
red and white. I do love the red and white.
I have so much red and white. It's like red and green is all I wear, and then it switches, and it's a blue and white during summer, and it's brutal. It's brutal. But red and green, I look like I'm Christmas. That's what my closet looks like during winter and fall. But the red, as far as you can see, just looks so cool. It's like on State Street when you're walking down. Like there's pictures of like all the frat houses, the college houses, all the way lining down State Street up to the stadium, and it's
Mhm.
just like this cool walk you have of just all red. Jump around is a crazy vibe. Sweet Caroline is a crazy vibe. It's just some people argue that's a more our tradition than jump around, even though anytime you watch a Badger game, it's the jump around gets more of the hype. But
That's also a North Carolina basketball thing, so it's not exclusively.
yeah, more more people sit in Camp Randall than in North Carolina basketball games, so that's
Because
not an
there's
argument.
more seats. How many freaking banners are there in Camp Randall, bud?
Build
yeah,
a bigger
bud.
stadium then. That's all. That's fine. I will say games are cold in Camp Randall, but there's a lot of people to keep you warm and a lot of liquid to make you not feel it. So that's fine. The food is brilliant. I will show you everything and everything. Like everything under the sun. There's so many options, so many cheeses, so many beers. We're the running game capital of the world. Like we are running. Like that is
they're
what we
really
do.
good at producing running backs that are good that bust in the NFL. So if that's your thing,
Not all bust. Not all bust. It's fine.
who's the best one? James White?
I'd say Jonathan Taylor.
Oh well, the jury's still out. He was pretty garbage last year.
He was injured.
He was hurt. He did get hurt.
Oh, well, that sounds like a hit. That sounds like a skill
You
issue.
traded me on their fantasy league. You traded him to me, and then he got hurt.
He also they produced Joe Thomas, some of the best O linemen ever to play. JJ Watt, TJ Watt. Oh, the D line. And then this year we got Luke Fickell in, and he brought in all of these players. What we have 35 new recruits. It's a completely built up roster. It's all 4-star recruit. Oh,
we've already had
so excited for this year.
And show that he can do stuff. Ours is already proven. Just saying.
I'm sorry. I would like to look at the most wins in the last 20 years, and I didn't see Tennessee's name.
I'd like to look at last year.
Yo,
that's fine. You take a 1 year, bro. How many years? How many years since '98 have Tennessee been bad?
Yo, but it feels like '98 this year.
That's fine.
It felt like '98, but did you win a championship? No, you choked.
Where's your championship, bud?
You choked.
Where's your championship, bud?
It may have
98,
felt like
you don't even remember it.
South Carolina, and then it didn't feel like 98.
Yeah, no. It felt like about 2013 then. But but no, I understand the appeal of Wisconsin. I mean, they have had some solid players come through there. We have our good buddy Austin here, who's a big Badger guy. They do have good cheeses up there and other things that are fun to enjoy. However, you've got to plan a trip up there way in advance. Like I could text you on a Thursday and be like, "Hey, dude, I pulled free coaches tickets to a game in Neyland. You want to go this Saturday?" And you could make that happen. You couldn't do that in Wisconsin because you need a day to drive. Now, it would be fun. Like I definitely do want to go to a game in Camp Randall. Like I certainly do. We do have a soft spot in our hearts for Wisconsin because we went to school with somebody who played football there, and everybody in Sullivan South High School had a Wisconsin shirt at one time or another because of Kurt Phillips. So there is that. There's that. Yeah. Brett literally approached us, and like we said, in the cafeteria of Sullivan South. So I mean, that was really cool. But it would be very difficult. It's not USC distance, but it's still some massive distance.
It's like 12 hour. It's a 12-hour drive.
I would never drive there. Let's just. I don't care about the hours driving because I would never drive there. I'd fly. I don't drive more than if it's 7 hours or more. No, I'm flying.
Yeah,
fair enough.
But yeah, I think I had to throw Wisconsin on the list. Also, my boss and my mom's fiance is from Wisconsin, so he's a big Wisconsin guy. So
big Packers guy.
Yeah, big Packers guy. So now we're going to eliminate one, and I need your guys' help. I've got 3 teams here that are at the bottom 3. We're going to eliminate one this week, and then we will come back next week and eliminate another. So what is your vote between Auburn, Arkansas, and Virginia Tech?
I think the SEC bias shines through here. Arkansas would be really easy to eliminate, but again, you do like the red and white, so you've got that going for you. Auburn is really up in the air on what they're going to do with Hugh Freeze, but Virginia Tech has kind of proven time and time again. I mean, they had Michael Vick, and they still couldn't get it done. You talk about teams that can't raise a banner. I mean, if you can't raise a banner with Michael Vick, it's going to be difficult. So I think at the end of the day, even though I have been to a game in Lane Stadium, it was a lot of fun, multiple games in Lane Stadium, I think that between those 3 teams, my vote would have to go to Virginia Tech.
I'm going to just do this and eliminate them already. I'm agreeing with them 100%. I was thinking about it right away. Arkansas is an easy pick if you were thinking oh, I want to pick this because it's Arkansas. Who wants to go to Arkansas? Arkansas doesn't have anything to offer you, but Razorbacks is kind of cool. It's kind of a
Look,
cool mascot. The red and white.
There's always been something in my heart for Arkansas. I don't know what it is. I've just always found them on
The
TV.
only negatives of Arkansas is the state itself. So, and then Auburn, I mean, it's got pedigree. I mean, it's just not been good lately. So I'm going
They've won
Virginia
a
Tech.
championship in our lifetime.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Virginia Tech pick. They're gonna send them away.
Andrew, you're gonna make this unanimous?
It doesn't matter, sure, Virginia Tech. I mean, it doesn't matter either way I pick. I was gonna say Arkansas, just because I mean I don't think you can be there as easily as you could Virginia Tech or Auburn even. You can easily make those trips happen. Arkansas is a bit more of a planning ahead kind of thing. So
very true. Yeah. Even if they've both voted for one team, I still want to hear what you have to say, just because maybe they'll change their minds. You never know. But I think they're pretty dead set on Virginia Tech, and
they seem pretty set on it. So
to be honest, I'm not really against it, just because I don't think I'm going to find myself rooting for an ACC team, especially if that team's name is not Miami, because I think they're the only team that has a chance from the ACC. So yeah, we'll go ahead and eliminate Virginia Tech, get down to 9, eliminate another one next week, and we promise this next one will be just shorter because we won't have to go through all of them.
Yeah. Well, we've already gone through all the pros and cons, so
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
want a little jingle to this section, like a screen pops up and it's Jordan, like, and all the logos around him, and then like plays, and then one deletes each week, like that.
I'll get on that. Jordan, send me your list, and I'll get on that. We'll make sure we have that happening, and also take a picture doing that, and I'll crop you in there.
We will make it.
This is
Two
going to
thumbs
be
up.
fun. It's going to be interesting because it's going to be, we've got multiple weeks leading up until then, and football season. Will you be in Neyland before then? So on and so forth. But I'm looking forward to it. This will be fun. To try to sway you over. I also think it would be something that nobody would expect if you ended up being involved. But that's my last piece there.
One last question too.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a Vols game in Neyland?
Yes. I've been to 2. Went to see him play Kentucky and went to see him play. It might have been like Middle Tennessee State. It was
a bad team. Yeah. We'll get you to a serious SEC game, because when you went to the Kentucky game, Kentucky was butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And I think that'll definitely help the case. But
I mean, really, I plan on trying to get it down again before the season to 3 teams.
Yeah.
And then when the season starts, we'll have it at 3 teams. That's when the persuading and everything can really get going.
Well, this will be fun. This will be a fun ongoing segment that we can talk about every week. It's been a good episode, a long episode, but it's been enjoyable. And I hope that our listeners and our viewers have enjoyed it as well. And again, if you have an opinion, drop your opinion down in the comments of this video, and let Jordan know what you think he should do. And until next time, Siri, play Rocky Top.
And we love Corey Clement. We don't listen to what James said, that they don't make good running backs. Corey Clement was a Super Bowl winner. We love Corey Clement.
What's he doing right now, Austin?
Nothing, but Corey Clement was there on our Super Bowl team. Corey Clement's good.
Hey, go Balls! Go Balls! Pocket shooter.